Welcome to Whitetail Rendezvous Podcast. This is Bruce Hutchin, host and executive producer. Each week you will hear tips, techniques, strategies, and personal stories from some of the best and funniest whitetail hunters in North America. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you do, tell a friend on social media. If not, tell me and I'll make it better. Thanks for listening, folks. Hey, today we're heading down to Louisiana and we're going to meet up with Ceasar. And Jem is a 19-year-old passionate whitetail hunter. As you know, that you can kill multiple bucks and does in Louisiana, and every year Jem does his best to fill his tags. But more than that, at the age of 19, he's got a handle on a lot of things that some people struggle with, such as, just hunting for food, forget the bone, how to prepare, how to be on your game every time you get in the tree stand. The other thing is that he understands the whitetail deer, and he's going to share some of his secrets with us today. So, Jem, it was a pleasure having you on the show, and I can't wait to share you with my guests. Hey, folks, welcome to another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous. We're heading down south, and a good friend of mine, Ceasar, has just got home from work, and we're catching up, and we're going to talk about a bunch of things today. One, we're going to talk about the hunting tradition and how Jem got started hunting whitetails.
Yes, sir. For me it started out I guess from a spectator's view. I watched a lot of outdoor channel coming up. My family my family wasn't into hunting. They really wasn't a type outdoors type family. So I kind of just picked up on it through myself basically. So it's not very deep in the family. So I just a spectator's view is how I came about it, and I just kind of ran with it from there. And once I came of the appropriate age to kind of like do for myself, got my license and stuff. So I just started off from there, and it's just been hunting ever since.
No, why do you like to hunt? I mean, kids your age, they're doing anything but hunting, and recruitment in that age class is really low. So let's give the listeners some insights why you like to hunt and what they should be talking to other young kids.
My biggest thing on hunting, I find it's very relaxing. I tend to I can like just get to know myself better, form a better relationship with God. Like I go out hunting, and I majority of the time I'm either praying, talking to God, and it's just an outer element for me. Another thing is it's a great pastime, and you can learn so much about yourself and about your willpower to get something done. Like if you're determined to kill a certain buck or a certain animal, I mean you're gonna learn your own limitations to what it's gonna take for you to get it. So it's just a lot of self pleasure that I get from it.
Now, are you shooting a crossbow, compound, or what do you like to hunt with?
I've been shooting at compounds for the past 4 years. This year, I actually decided to take things up a notch and try out traditional archery gear. So this year, I'm taking a traditional approach and going all traditional.
You mean a stick and a string?
Yes, sir. A stick and a string.
Tell me you're making your own arrows and napping your own arrowheads.
No, sir. I haven't gotten that deep into it. I use, I guess you can say, like an artificial brand. I use the Eastern traditional arrows. It's a carbon arrow with the traditional look. It's just a traditional dip on the outside, so it gives it that old type look. And with the big old Zwicky broadhead on there. So that's just as far into it as I go. I have a Southwest Archery Tiger Shark bow, long bow, 62 inch at 45 pounds, and that's what I use right now. I haven't gone as far as to make my own arrows and servants and stuff.
Yeah, some people, I mean, they build their own bows and they do the servings and the fletching. I mean, nothing in that bow is store bought.
Say that one more time, please.
I said nothing in their bows are store bought. I mean, they are traditional archers, and they could be living 100 years ago and still be using the same gear.
Yes, sir. And I found that very, very amazing. It's it's pretty cool. I hope that I end up one day wanting to digest it, that go into it as deep as a lot of traditional archers are, and I feel that would be very cool. And it would make a harvest mean a whole lot more than it already does, being that you actually built your setup from ground up into a performing work of art.
Yeah, and that's what it is. At that level, it's an art form because it's a lost art form, and there's plenty of bowers out there and people that that's how they hunt. And I've known a couple of people, they're unbelievable archers. Now they're not going to shoot 50, 60, 80 yards, 20, 30 yards, 10 yards, but
Sure.
it's up close and personal. But like you said, and I liked how you said it, it's when you make a harvest, when you make a kill, when you put a buck down, a doe down, whatever you're hunting, down with your own gear, it's something special. It's kind of like fly fishing. You tie your own flies, and son of a gun, if you don't catch a trout on your own fly, then it's
Right.
just kind of neat. It's connection. More than anything, it's real connection. Your thoughts?
Yes, sir. Just like you said, it's a connection. It's a deep connection. It's very personal once you go that far into it. And yeah, it's just I couldn't say it no better than you said it. It's just a deep connection between the work you put into something and to see it actually provide for you. I mean, I don't think there's a better feeling than that in the world.
Now, you might have mentioned this or talked around a little bit, but and I talked about recruitment, but in the hunting world, in the outdoor world, we really have a serious problem getting kids involved. What do you say to kids at school or where you go to church or where you work or wherever you're at when they ask you about hunting?
Um, whenever they ask me about hunting, a lot of times they'll ask me the biggest question is, do you eat what you kill? And of course the answer is yes. But a lot of kids here in Louisiana actually want to get outdoors and want to be involved in a recreational sport such as hunting. And it's just that being that the environment that they grew up, they don't have that outdoor substance. So like their families aren't from a outdoor heritage or anything like that. But so they can't really get a firsthand experience. A lot of it happens whenever they become mature enough to have their own vehicle and own source of income to be able to support that habit. So, but for the most part, a lot of young guys and even the girls around here, they want to get involved in hunting. It's just that most of them do not have any type of foundation for it.
How would they get it?
Um, Here people are so friendly. So let's use this situation here. So like let's say how it happened to me was my dad was he was a pastor, and he wasn't into fishing or hunting or anything like that, but I was, and he had friends who were into it, and I was blessed enough to be able to have a dad that was willing to let a friend of his take me out on my first hunting trip, and that's how I became exposed to it, and just from that little encounter like that just changed my whole world, and I just stuck with it and just kept it rolling, and here I am today.
Well, where the heck are you?
I am, I guess you could say, I'm 19 and chasing a dream. I haven't made it to the top of my goals, but I am achieving goals here and there. I like to say, like the short term goals, I'm achieving those, and my long term goals, eventually, I will meet those. So, I'm making motion.
Well, let's talk about some of your goals because who knows, listening on the show, maybe they can help you make them happen. So let's talk
Yes, sir.
about your couple of goals coming up next couple of years and then some longer term goals.
Um, for short term wise, the next year or two, I'd like to be able to, shoot. I like to be able to capture an entire hunting season on film, document the whole thing from the October 1st when bow season starts to February 28th when it ends, and just have footage that rolls that just shows the entire experience of being a bow hunter here in Louisiana, a public land bow hunter that is. That way, people who want to get in it, want to get into it, who's been thinking about it, who's been pondering about it for a while, they'll actually be able to, just get like a firsthand experience on what it's like being a being an archer, a bow hunter on public land here in Louisiana. And it doesn't necessarily have to be public land, just being a bow hunter in general. So that's a goal of mine to document a whole entire season on camera.
Well, that's pretty aggressive because you need, one, you need camera. Two, you need a cameraman because somebody's got to take a picture, take the film of you hunting, and then somebody's got to get you around all these places. Now
Yes,
you
sir.
said October through February. How many days during a typical deer season do you hunt?
Um, I'd have to say roughly, I'd probably get in 70 hunts. Working around my school schedule and whatever festives going around and stuff like that. So I'd say I get 70 hunts in, and that's also split between duck season. So I'd say 70 is a good number.
That's a lot of sits.
Yes, sir. That is a lot of shit.
Now in Louisiana, though, you can take multiple bucks, multiple does. What's the bag limit?
You can take the daily bag limit is a buck and two does. You have you can take, if I'm not mistaken, you can take um 6 does and 2 bucks.
For the season or daily bag?
So sir, that's for the whole season, the whole entire season.
That's a lot of venison.
Yes, sir. Our bag limit is on the high end prior to other states,
Now, do you run deer with dogs down there?
sir.
Do you run deer with dogs in Louisiana?
There are people who do it. It's becoming almost extinct now. The people who do run deer with deer dogs, you don't really hear or see that too often, but it is still around here. But I've never done it personally, and I actually do not even I don't know anyone who does it, but it is very much still alive here. It's just not many people do it.
Now, Louisiana to me is one big swamp, and folks, I've been to Shreveport, and even with the river around there, there was a heck of a lot of swamp, a lot of wet stuff,
Yes,
and
sir.
that's my only knowledge of Louisiana. So everybody don't get all wound up. But to me, you're hunting ridges and you're hunting oak, Oak Islands or whatever you want to call it. But there's a heck of a lot of water. How do you hunt whitetails in that country?
Here it's basically the terrain. It depends on how far north you go or how far south you go. The further south of Louisiana you go, the more chances are that you're going to need a boat or a pig rope to get to your hunting stand. The further north, everything is pretty accessible by feet. Like if you go around the marsh in the delta, it's 100% guaranteed you're going to need a boat to get to those islands and stuff like that. Up north, you have hill. It's like hilly terrain. So there's no need for a boat unless you're hunting off the river. But for the majority of it, yeah, you don't really need a boat if you're hunting up north.
What about food plots? Do people put in food plots? Because I'm just going to call it the thickets or jungles to me, and I don't know how you cut that stuff up and move move the trees away and not grow agricultural products to eat or to sell, rather than
Right.
just have a food plot.
Yes, sir. Um, Food plots here, they're pretty common. They are pretty common. Now they are difficult to keep up due to what you said, like the dense population of trees we have here, shrubs and all the other local shrubs and whatnot. But here it's not mandatory that you do need a food plot. Um, we have an abundance of natural habitat and natural food for the deer that it's to me I say it's not needed. Like a food plot is not needed. Now, if you have the luxury of having your own private land and you want to plant, let's say, clover or any brassica or turnips or wheat or something like that, then yeah, I'm all for it. But for the most part, the majority of Louisiana, I'd say you don't really need it because the soil here is pretty rich and more fertile. So there's just a lot of food on the ground for the deer.
So tell me about your setup. Your top five stands. What do they look like? And take it through us.
Um, my top five stands, like my number one go to so far that I've always resorted to was cutovers, and I hunt public land here in Louisiana 100% of the time, and cutovers are by far some of the best hunting you can get. Now when they're fresh, I typically do not hunt them. I like to wait a year or two after because it's more so a bedding area for the deer because once they cut all those trees down and everything, it allows everything from the ground up to begin to grow. So it's almost like a sanctuary or estuary for the deer. And I found that the majority of my buck sightings come from cutovers.
Is that because they're bedding in there and they have to get out of there to find their food? Or explain a little bit about a
Yes, sir.
cutover to me.
Yes, sir. I'd say it's because of the bedding area, and it's so thick that no one really wants to walk through a cutover because it's very difficult. You have tree stump, you have logs falling everywhere. You have the terrain is very very bad, so it makes it difficult for a guy to want to walk through that. And on top of that, if he actually does get the chance to harvest something, you have to drag that back over that. But for the most part, yeah, the deer they love the cutovers. They get a good bit of security from it. And it depends on how much pressure it is. If there's a lot of pressure, the deer tend to bed down a lot longer than they usually do. Like here for the rifle season, almost everyone in Louisiana is hunting, so the deer tend to bed down longer. And I find that if you are where they're bedding at, whenever they do decide to come out, when everybody's leaving at around right before dark or whatnot, you might catch that old bruiser making a pass, either checking the scrape or going to get some food, get the bite to eat before the night. And I find that that's very effective.
Okay, so cutovers. What about your second stand or third stand?
Um, my second or third, I'd have to say getting into hardwoods, getting in the real thick stuff. The big bucks, I guarantee I'd actually put my name on it that you have a better chance of finding a big buck in real dense cover, thick stuff, a lot of shrubs, a lot of briars. They like to bed down in that type of stuff. No, not many people go in that. That's another thing. The pressure is going to be very very low in very thick stuff. So with that being said, I like to get into the real thick stuff, the real nitty gritty type situations.
Now, are you using hang-ons or climbers or ladder stands?
Oh, for the majority of my hunting, my years hunting, I always did use a climber. That's the number one go-to stand here in Louisiana. I guarantee you, every hunter in Louisiana has a tree climber or a tree lounge. I resorted to using a hang-on stand this year due to me hunting with a traditional bow. It The climbers have rails around them, and that's for protection. And it just makes it very difficult to shoot a traditional bow out of that. You have a way better chance of a deer busting you in that than with the hang on. And I find it's a lot. The shootability out of them is a lot better. You can take sitting shots. So like if the deer was coming in real antsy and you don't want to stand up to get the shot off on them, the lock on help you with that situation.
All right. What's your one big thing about hunting? It's your go-to thing. It might be, make sure I'm not smoking in my truck, or make sure I took a, shower with, no scent, or, you know, or wind. What's your one big thing?
My biggest thing is trying not to sweat during the early season. Just take my time walking through the woods. Try not to get too much BO out, and just stay real low profile. Just get there, take my time, and pace myself because even during the colder months, you still have that chance of it going the temperature being in the 70s, and you have your jacket and you have all your gear on, you begin to sweat, and then whenever you start to take those layers off, that's just freeing the body odor a lot more. So if you prevent that by just taking your time, spraying off with scent away, and just taking your time to the stand, don't rush and try not to get a sweat worked up, and it keeps the scent down. That's my biggest thing. Just being real nonchalant going to the stand.
Now, if your stand's a quarter mile away, how long does it take you to get there in the dark? Let's just say in the dark.
In the dark, I can answer that spot on because my stand is about a quarter mile, if not 3/4 mile. It'll take me a 55 minutes. 55 minutes, and that's at a pace to walk. That's the same pace throughout the whole trail. That's 55 minutes, and you just learn to strategize. Once you figure out how long it takes you, you can judge about how early you need to wake up in the morning before you get to WMA, and then you can judge from there. That time it takes you to get to the stand, so it can give you an estimate about what time to be in the stand.
Now, if you're hunting WMA, can you leave your stand up overnight?
Yes, sir, you can, but you have to have your name tag. You have to have your name on it, and if I'm not mistaken, your license number. If I'm not mistaken, I never leave my stands in the woods, but you can leave them. You just have to have some kind of information on them, like phone number and stuff, just in case something were to happen, or if a warden were to come on it, or a logging company or something, to be able to call you so you can come move your stand out of the woods.
So you don't leave your stand in. Now, okay, so you know where you're going. It's dark. You got to carry the stand, your bow, your lunch, whatever, to the stand. Then you got to put the stand up quietly. Then you got to get in the stand all before sunup. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How do you do that?
Um, the trick is waking up as early as possible because the gates to WMA that I hunt open up at 4 o'clock in the morning. So you'd want to be there whenever those gates open up. Get there at time. Get all your stuff packed. Get comfortable and situated with your stand on your back so that you can make that walk. You can make that trip to the stand. And once you get there, just you still have enough time because they sunrise is about 6:30 here, 6:30, 7 o'clock, and if I'm not mistaken, yeah, you have enough time to just relax, let your breath, let your body heat go down, let your heart rate catch up with you. Just be real relaxed because if you try to do everything fast paced, it can result in a lot of, like I said earlier, body odor, a lot of noise that didn't need to be made early in the morning because you're trying to rush and get your stand up and stuff. So it's just all about time management. Time management is the biggest thing. If you wake up early enough in the morning, you can sacrifice yourself a lot of rushing and a lot of effort, and it makes the hunt go by so much better.
Yeah, it does. So, listeners, Jem's got some great insight, and hey, all of us don't have to wait till the gate opens. Even in hunting public land, you just pull in the parking area and go hunting. Hopefully, there's not 2 or 3 cars ahead of you. Other than that, he's got more control, but he goes through a tremendous amount of work just to sit a stand. So you got your stand set up. It's not sunrise. How long are you going to sit in that stand?
If I got a good night's sleep, I will stay all day. I will pull in all day sit, no doubt.
That's hard.
Yes, sir. It is. But once you train yourself to it, once you become accustomed to sitting all day, and it really just becomes like a second nature. Before you know it, you're in there early in the morning. Before you know it, it's already dark. Time for you to get down and stand.
Now, honestly, have you ever fallen asleep in your stand? Noontime, you just had your lunch, the sun's warming you up, and you're asleep.
Yes, sir. I have fell asleep, but I do. And I think we've all been victims of that. But
I'm guilty. I'm guilty.
I try so hard not to. But it's very weird how I do it. First of all, I'm scared to death to fall asleep in a tree stand, especially a hang-on stand. So like when I catch myself falling asleep, it's maybe a 5 second burst of my eyes being closed before my reflexes kick in and make me flinch because I think I'm about to fall out of the stand. So I don't sleep very long, but there are periods whenever I do lean back on the tree, and I may get myself a little 5 minute nap in.
No, of course you have a safety harness, right? Right.
Yes, sir. Most definitely.
I have a safety harness, and then I take a ratchet strap, and I'm sitting in uh, a double ladder stand, and then I just ratchet across my legs. I don't know why I do that, but it's just really comforting because I can't move.
Rip.
Yeah,
That's the ultimate life saving right there.
yeah, you can't move. I mean, if the tree fell over, I'd go with the tree. But when I fall asleep, then there's absolutely no, when your head jerks up, there's none of that because I know I'm literally locked in,
Yes,
and
sir.
and to do it.
You have that sense of security.
Yep. But here's what I hate, Jim. I hate, okay, have my lunch and do this. have some hot chocolate, tea, whatever, and then, the sun hits me, and I'm kinda like the squirrel raccoon in this nest, and everything's good, and so I'm nodding off, and then I jump back up, I go, "What if Mr. Wonderful just walked by? I would have never seen him."
You are right. You are right about that. And that thought goes through my head a lot. I always just sit down and think like, man, Jim, how many deer do you think have passed on you? How many? You never know. It could have been a Pope and Young buck that passed on you during that little 5 minute nap, 10 minute nap that you were sleeping.
You'd
But
never
I
know.
tend, you're right. You never know. But I just boost myself up by saying, well, it wasn't meant for me to get him because if it was, I'd have been up, and that
There
just
you
gives
go.
another hunter a shot at that deer. Hopefully, he's not sleeping.
Yeah, but it's funny because especially, during the rut, everybody, gets the tree early, gets out the tree late. There's a lot of movement, between 10 and 2, 9 and 3, there's a lot of buck movement at midday. I've got a picture, at my friend's farm, and it was 2 o'clock in the afternoon, windy day, 70 degrees, and he's waltzing through the food plot.
Wow.
A mature smoking hot buck. And I'm going, how many guys, and listen, you can do whatever you want to do, but how many of us get up early, we get there, nothing's happening. You're texting somebody, oh, you got to go here, whatever. And you go, I'm going to get out here. I'll come back at 3.
Right.
It'll be good. I'll go to a different stand. But I got 4 hours here. I'm going to take care of some business, or I'm bored, or whatever.
Yes, sir.
And then you come back and your trail camera shows you what you missed. And folks, think about that. And I'm going to try this out this rut. I'm gonna get my stand like at 8:30 ish, 9 o'clock ish, and just stay till 3 or 4 ish, and see what happens.
Right.
And just see what happens. Not an all day sit, not a dawn to dusk, but just in a stand at 9, out by 3, and just see what happens.
Yes, sir. A simple midday hunt. It's not a lot of pressure on you. You don't have to wake up too early in the morning. You can just get to the stand real chilled out, real relaxed, and you get out pretty early at 3 o'clock. That's pretty early, so you don't have to worry about you just don't have to. You're not worried about much. You wake up whenever you want. 9 o'clock, get to the stand, and hopefully you get lucky and you catch one of those midday cruisers coming by, and you fill a tag that day.
Yeah, because my buddy's picture, I'm going, holy fright, what was that sucker doing 2 o'clock in the afternoon? Like, could care less. And I mean, if somebody had been in the stand, he would have died. I mean, we got him on film. And it's just,
Yes, sir.
you got to think about that. And listeners, hey, chime in, whitetail rendezvous at gmail.com. Send me a note. Say, Bruce, you're full of it. Or, here's what I saw this year. I'd like to get some information on that because I think we're hurting ourselves, more than we know by, oh, I gotta go do this. I'll come back, early morning, late afternoon, traditional. And maybe there's a lot of bucks that just waltz on by that you'll never see.
Exactly. There's always that possibility. Like you never know what's walking around when you're not there.
Yeah. That's why I started all day sits. I said, I'm going to be up there from dawn to dusk. And, I've had some good days. I've had some, what am I doing sitting here for 8 hours?
Yes,
But it
sir.
is nice because you are alone and you get some prayer time. You think about it. And with technology today, man, you can catch up on a lot of emails.
Right. You're right.
Oh man. Well, hey, this has been so much fun, Jim. Just I want to see your pictures when you put one down, and then let's stay in touch. And you're welcome on the show anytime, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. It was a blessing and an honor to be part of your podcast, Mr. Bruce.
So, on behalf of Whitetail Rendezvous, our thousands of listeners, soon to be 200,000 listeners across North America, Jim Ceasar, thank you so much for being a guest.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, folks, we're heading up to northeastern Iowa, and we're going to visit with Sarah Egelsater. Now, Sarah is an EMT. She's a student. She's doing a lot of things in the community, and plus, she just happens to love to hunt whitetails. And this journey into the whitetail land started just a few years ago. So she's late in the game, but she just really enjoys it. And she's going to share some of her secrets of how she hunts down those big Iowa bucks. But more important than that, she's going to share the secret of supporting her husband, and we're going to take a dive into coon hunting with dogs at night. And it's something that lit her fire, lit her passion. Uh, Running dogs under a full moonlight. This if you've never done it. It's really a lot of fun. So Sarah's got some really great tips for women. She's got great tips if you want to be a pro staffer. She's just all around got some great tips. So enjoy the show, folks.
Thanks for joining us. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous, where you can listen and learn from the experts so you can be more successful on your next hunt. Until next time, listen, learn, and succeed.